If I do, I will.
Good evening, all. We got John B. How you doing, John? We're here to talk some Chariots, and I am joined by the one, the only, the head judge of SBOT2, Auce. How you feeling, my man?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah, because you were a bit rough yesterday. You feeling better? I should have just asked you earlier.
Yeah, I had food poisoning, I think, but dealt with that yesterday, so feeling fine.
Excellent. Cleanse the body, a whole new man. That's the way it goes. Perfect. So we're just gonna start into it, and then as soon as we have people here, that's when I can do my plugs. That's the way that I found works best. So I've had every time I put one of these up, not only do people argue in the comments, which is fine, but as I say every time, link in the Discord, put your money where your mouth is, put your tier list in. I don't care about your minutia. Like, I think this should be moved 6 pixels up. That's fine. Show me the whole picture. Let me judge you before we get to, get too deep on it. But something that people ask for every time, one person asks for every time, is for me to do, timestamps. And I'm not going to do timestamps because timestamps take really fucking long. And I'm working 2 full-time jobs currently. I'll get to that on Friday. But yeah, so that's not something that I have time to do, unfortunately. But we are going to do it in order, so it should make it easy for people to skip through. So we're going to start off with Dwarves, go through the Force of Fantasy. We're going to go through the Ravening Hordes. Then we're going to go through the what do you call them? The Legacy armies, almost in order, apart from Chaos Demons, who are last, just because that's how I downloaded them, and that's how you're going to get them. So we'll start off with Dwarves. Dwarves are an army you wouldn't necessarily expect to have Chariots. Do you want to start with the Bugmans or the Miners card?
Bugmans is my pick.
Hell yeah. Give us the rundown.
Yeah. So for me, the Bugmans card is a really solid utility piece in your army. I think you're well served to take that in almost every dwarf list you can fit it, at least one. It doesn't do much for you in a fight, but the utility it provides you, I think, is something that dwarves kind of sorely need with its little speed buff. Do you want to go over the stats, or are we cool?
No, we don't have to go like super specifics. But yeah, like it's a buffing piece. It mostly increases your movement. That's the big thing. And you can combo that with obviously drilled and marching column and the anvil to double move. And if you want to do the Richie Yeet, as it has now been coined, where you get one big unit and you go, that's coming right at your face. We're going to move that just like a solid, 20 inches and still be able to fight you on my terms. This is pretty integral to that. You don't get it. The downside is you don't get it as your Vanguard move. So getting a 4-inch Vanguard move, the dream is dead. You're just a 3-inch short boy. But it is an aura. Unlike everyone getting that wrong on release, including myself, where I was like, it must be pick a unit, surely. And no, it's just everyone in aura, which is great. Yeah,
it's like quite flavorful, which is cool because it's a beer cart, right? So it should be flavorful. I think it's kind of indispensable. I think whether you're going for the Richie Yeet, as you say, or whether you're just playing normal dwarves, I think shoring up the weakness of your army by being a bit quicker is always a good thing. So
yeah, and it's so cheap. It's like 65 points, I think.
Yeah,
and it's relatively tanky. Yeah, like for the 65 points.
Sort of, yeah. It's like it's got comparable stats to other chariots in the range.
Yeah.
So
it's the weakest model in the dwarf range, point for point. But it's still a dwarf, and it's cheap. If you wanted to do something stupid, like take the what's he called, Ungrim and a hammer a brick, but you needed a legal army, so you needed to take at least 2 other units. You could be like, screw it, I'll just take 2 chariots. And they do buff me. You could take maybe one of each. I'm not sure if you can actually take them in the Royal Host. I think you might be limited to just the Bugmans.
Just the Bugmans card, yeah. That seems about right.
The dream is dead. What a shame. Right. We'll alternate off in terms of having to put, commit to a ranking. Where do you want the Bugmans card to start off?
On my chart here, I have it in an A. For me,
I think that's super reasonable.
Yeah, for me, S is a must-have in your army. It's like, this is the best thing you can take. A is just a very strong, consistent choice. B is a role player. C takes some work to work out. D is not great. And then below that is kind of just memes. So
yeah. So we've got Richie. Good to have you, Richie. Look, your perception is skewed because you've never played an army with good units, and I'm sorry for that. But it is still pretty good. It is. I agree. It is A tier. We have started to see the chat fill up. I may have forgotten to put keywords in, which is why the stream started off so slow. But we'll pick up pretty quickly now that I've surreptitiously filled those in. So we've got John. He's calling for the White Lion Chariots. We'll get to those. I quite like the White Lion Chariots. I think they're pretty neat.
Me too.
Paolo's here. Good evening, Paolo. Hope you're doing well. A Ragnarok Spider is technically a chariot. It's got a howdah. It's not quite a chariot. There are 40 chariots. So I decided I'm definitely not going with any behemoths with howdah on there. That would get a little bit silly. Matthew says S tier boozy cart. I respect that. I don't agree, but I respect it. You know, as long as you model it with actual beer on there, you might be able to sway me. Music Theory Wizard, always a great show, guys. Thank you very much. Always nice to have a real wizard with us doing spells and shit. Fantasy tier list is a great place to have wizards. Did you see the last one where we were rating all the spellcasters? Or maybe it was the one before that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Sorry, I was asking the wizard, but
fair enough. Yeah. Can't argue with that.
Yeah, we've got Existence. Evening, gents. You give me less shit now that I'm on a solo podcast as opposed to a tier. So here's some deep lore on the 40k podcast. Existence used to always be like, "Good evening, gents," and Ed, which I enjoyed greatly. But we got Winslow as well. And Existence says a chariot can only go in S tier if it has counter charge. You're reading my fucking mind. Hell yeah. Because I think we're going to disagree on quite a lot of these chariots, which is exciting. That's exactly what I want from this.
I think there's one that we'll disagree on.
I think there's a lot that we're going to disagree with. I think there's a few that you're going to be like, yeah, this is pretty good. I'm like, absolutely fucking not. My meta has guns and you have matchsticks.
All right.
So we'll get there. Oh, just before we get into the next one, Matthew says, stating a position before other comments, Beastmen chariots just mess with my equilibrium. Doesn't jive with the fluff. That's fair. Like, how do you drive a chariot through the woods? I think, to be fair, Beastmen are more plains than woods, but I could be wrong with that. Do I cast Doomflayers as chariots? I do, Kev. Good to have you. I've got a special place in my heart for those chariots, even though it was very good against me when you played it. So we'll get to that one. Boycotting your wizard tier list as I wasn't included on it. That's fair. I can't argue with that. I'm sorry. You go in S tier. Now go back and watch it. After this, of course. All right. So we've done the Bugman's cart, minus cart. I want this to be up there in A tier. I love the idea of just taking a cheap unit that gives your melee units a stand and shoot, or just a close range shooting attack. This is fine. In theory. Do you know how many dwarf units that are good in melee also have a ballistic skill of 4 and don't have a ranged weapon already?
I did not.
It counts out ranges. It's none of them.
Oh, well.
Yeah. I was like, oh man, I'm just going to take Longbeards. I'm going to have great weapons. I'm going to give them some like a little bit of stand and shoot just to add to the combat res. That might just tip them over into being playing. No, ballistic skill 3. And then you're always hitting on 5s because of the stand and shoot. I'm pretty sure there's no way to get dwarf crafted on, the mining explosives that it gives. I don't have a lot to say about this other than it is the same model, but it's worse.
Yeah, pretty much. I have paid attention a lot to kind of the dwarf hubbub around when their Arcane Journal was released. I heard a lot of talk about the Bugman's cart. I saw a lot of lists with the Bugman's cart. I have not heard anyone talk about the Miner's cart, and I have not seen it in any army lists. I just don't think it adds much to your army. It's not completely useless. So
it does a thing.
Yeah, it has a role, but I don't know how useful that is. And as you said, most of the units you might want this on don't really have the ability to take advantage of it with low ballistic skill. So I struggle to find a place for this. So yeah.
Yeah, the only time I've seen people be genuinely excited about it, apart from me, is, as Bensi says, if you combo it with Slayers with a 4 up to wound, and that's fine. But that's it's still no AP, and you still hit on 5s, so I can't justify it. And then I'd have to play Slayers as well, so really tripling down on a bad idea. So I think, given it's my turn to commit to something, I reckon C. It's not an F tier, and if you put it in your list, it's so cheap that it still does a thing. But I can't see it any higher than that.
That's higher than I would put it. But
I don't actually have a D tier. That D down at the bottom is a secret surprise, and we'll get to that in a second. So it goes straight from C to F. We don't fence it here. Something's either playable or it fucking ain't. It goes in F if it's bad, and it goes to below F if it's one of a few very specific units.
Yeah, I have it. I have it in the 5th tier of my list. So or whatever that counts. So I'm one lower than you.
Ignore this tier. This tier right at the bottom doesn't exist apart from
Gotcha.
some specifics that's mostly here for meme value. So F is the bottom. So it's one off bottom, basically, I would say.
Okay.
But so I think we pretty much agree on where it is.
We're pretty close, yeah. I think so.
Cool. So we've got another one. We've got what is technically a chariot. It's also a war machine. It's a steam tank. And it's an uncomfortable amount of points, so you can't fit 2 of them in at 2,000 points, which is a crime. I would love to run 2 of these beasties.
Yeah, I think that kind of says it all. Everyone wants to run 2 of them because they're that good. The steam tank, since I've started playing Warhammer in 6th edition, has always been kind of like the Empire unit. It's like the best thing you can take. Mm-hmm. It remains that way. It is excellent. It's like one of the main selling points of your Empire armies that you can take a steam tank. What more can you say about it? It's like nearly indestructible. It has a really good gun on it. It's like reasonable in combat. Like it does it all really. So
yeah, it's real good. There are some downsides to it. It has a worse cannon than the great cannons, so that's not ideal. You might, if you want to play an Empire gunline list, you might struggle to fit it in because it's a lot of guns. It's effectively 2 war machines and 2 engineers, which is a lot of points to fill up, or maybe like 2 guns and 1.5 engineers, which is still a lot. Hey, Sully of Philly, thank you very much. He says, steam tank, steam tank, steam tank. And well, it starts with an S.
Yeah.
I think that's super fair.
Yeah.
Like, would I take it in an army that's better than Empire? Like, would I take it in Warriors of Chaos?
Oh yeah.
Would I? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't feel like it plays to the playstyle of Warriors of Chaos, although maybe it opens up a new playstyle. So, maybe that's a bad example.
It would be unbelievable in Warriors of Chaos. It would be even better than Empire in there. Having a ranged element, a ranged element in their army like seals the deal. Like it's like already sick, right? So, I can't. I would take it in any army any faction. So,
hell yeah, Voidborn Scum, Steam Tank, absolute S. Now we want to see them as core for Nuln. I would love to see one as core for Nuln. And then also have them move to special so you can run 4 under the square-based pack where, the rule of 3 plus core.
It's a hope and a dream, but I'm hoping the variant steam tanks come back. We'll see, but like that would be like the coolest thing ever.
I don't know about the variant steam tanks. What do they have?
Long ago there's like I think it's 11 or 12 canonical steam tanks in the lore, and they all have different equipment. So,
that was back when the lore was there were only 11 or 12 steam tanks, wasn't it? And
I think that's
one was.
I think that's still the lore, unless it's changed, right? Yeah,
I couldn't tell you. I'll be honest. Lore is my weakest pillar of the hobby.
In this time period, they're actually kind of new, but in the pre-end times period, they were like ancient relics. They were like 500 years old.
Yeah.
But there might be more in this time period, but like at that period, there's only like 11 of them or 12 of them or something. So, but they all had different equipment and they were all super cool. So,
hell yeah, I know what I'm doing after this. I'm going to look up different steam tanks and be really sad. Side note, I want Nuln to be. I don't want it to buff gun lines. I want it to make a mobile gun line a more appealing army. That's what I'm looking for from Nuln. I want you to be able to like play more, not like Wood Elves, because Wood Elves are oppressive in their own bullshit way, but like have a reason to like sort of expeditionary force, but good. Like that's what I want from Nuln.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. I don't think that's an army that I would like be interested in per se, but I've never really liked the shooty part of Empire as much. But I think that would be a nifty choice to be out there. So, yeah.
Excellent stuff. All right, then we've got the other one.
Yeah.
There's Steam Tank and there's the other one, which is the War Altar.
Has fallen from grace. Used to be like in every single army you would take this item back in the day. I think it's still reasonable. The issue is, the main issue with it is that the guy writing it now is kind of an old grandpa instead of an amazing duelist. Now, like without the Van Horstman speculum, it kind of loses a lot of its appeal. additionally with the changes to magic, this used to just give you extra dispel dice back in the day, and now it's just reducing the casting bonus for all wizards nearby.
including yours, which is
It is a downside, but it's less of a downside than you think, because with Empire you can put your wizards on Pegasi or on horses and just have them out of range of this. But it is like, yeah, it's definitely a downside. I think it's still a reasonable choice. It's not complete nonsense, but it's like it's no longer a amazing piece.
yeah. My gut feel, and I don't know a lot about this one, but my gut feel, C tier. I'm not jazzed to see it ever.
I think it's a B. I have it
Yeah.
as like a role player. Like I've played against I've been beaten by good armies with this in it.
Okay.
So I don't think it's awful. It's like it's fine. Yeah.
Is it a large target? It is a large target.
Yeah.
I
Which
really don't like that.
it does work against it for shooting. Usually they are fairly tanky. Like, you
Yeah.
can put some decent magic items on there, but yeah, shooting it is definitely a problem because it's a obvious thing to shoot. Um, but Empire is kind of looking for anything that they can take. So having a medium reasonable option is something that maybe they have to use and take advantage of. So
Okay. And to be fair, I think it's only the Lector that can be mounted on it, which is the more expensive one.
there we go.
245 points naked. That's pretty cheap for an 8 wound chariot at T5.
Yep.
Okay. I can be convinced. I have been convinced. We'll stick it in B. As always, we can come back and tweak as and when needed. Normally, get towards the end and you sort of squint and go, this is fucky. Let's fix it. But we'll see if we get to that point.
Yeah.
And here's where I think we're going to disagree.
Oh boy. Okay.
Because you've sent me lists with these in. Tyrannok Chariot. Tell me why you think they're good.
So as a unit, Tyrannok Chariots are just okay. They're quite cheap. They have decent shooting. An interesting little novelty to them is that they themselves have the move and shoot rule, so which means they can march and shoot and do all their fancy stuff on their own. They have surprisingly reasonable stats. So it's just a tidy little package. As the unit, I'm not super high on them. I think they're reasonable, especially if you're going for like a theme army or you're trying to be like a really quick army. Where they really shine is as a character mount. For many reasons. For one, the aforementioned move and shoot applies to potentially a Reaver bow. It can do kind of interesting things with. I've never seen anyone do this, but using the wizard hat on it and trying to have a magic missile that's mobile is kind of interesting.
That's the worst idea I've ever heard.
It's out there. It's out there. It's the thing. Right. But the key piece of it is it's part of the, it's a light chariot. It can join units. So it's a way of making your character immune to killing blow and monster slayer. Gives your character toughness, gives your character wounds, a couple extra attacks thrown in there. Yeah. So as a mount, it is like indispensable. I think it's like you should always take this if you can, kind of thing. So I rank this in A tier, purely for that alone, like the joining a unit factor. So yeah.
So I hear what you're saying, and yeah, you can put it in units, and that's super true. And it is +4 wounds and +1 toughness. So T4, you get up to 6 or 7 wounds. That's all great. Here's what I'm doing with my characters: Dragon, Caster. I don't care. Like, you can put like a noble on a chariot. I'm not particularly jazzed about that. I feel like the dragon's so good because you can get the cheap defensive package so easily, and everything else you have as elves is so bad outside of like going for a sisters like Death Star or just running lots of sisters. I'm not sold. Like, you can put, what would you put the Tyrannok Chariot in? Loth and Seaguard? They're just not efficient points wise, I think.
I can't say I agree. I think High Elves have like one of the better unit rosters. So first of all, you can put them in sisters.
Yeah.
So that's a thing. That's what a lot of people do.
Yeah.
You can put them in Seaguard. They're not at their best in Seaguard, but they're also not bad.
Yeah.
But I think the ideal unit for them is Silverhelms. So just having a big brick of 3+ save, decently quick cavalry as the basis of your Death Star. It's a core unit, so it can just fill up your core points. Is like, I think, a really solid choice for your army. And then yeah, you are right. Yeah, like the dragon is also indispensable. Especially the tankier one. It's the star dragon, I believe, is the beefiest one. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
That one is obviously an excellent choice. That said, I've seen a lot of high elf lists that are running big units of sisters. I've seen a lot of high elf lists that are running big units of silver helms, and these are like right at home in those units. Like, if you're going to take a unit that's intending to abuse walk through worlds, that's like an excellent choice to beef up your kind of character duel list. Making your battle standard bearer tougher for the battle banner is always a great choice. Yeah, I'm sold on them. As far as the like, aside from the character thing, I think they're like comparable enough to Dragon Princes that like it's like depending exactly what you're going into, they're like a reasonable choice. And it's kind of like, if you like Dragon Princes, take those. If you like Tyrannok, take those, kind of thing.
So I think, and Jordan's just said it in chat, the big thing is the leadership 10, leadership 9 of the prince and the noble. The only way you can take one of those, if you want to take the handmaiden as the general to get that big core unit of sisters, is you have to take it as a BSB, which is fine. Yep. But then you can only take one. And I like, is that might be enough? Maybe. I don't think it deserves to be in B, but I haven't played against it, and I know you have experience with it. So I'm gonna give you this one because you have the actual experience there.
Where were you gonna put it? Where were you gonna put it?
See, get out of here! I genuinely wild. I don't respect the high elf units outside of sisters. I don't like Tyrannok, the silver helms at all. It's a flashback to rating them, I think, in maybe A tier in the heavy cavalry. But like,
I don't know, man.
I'm super not sold by the high elf unit roster outside of the characters, basically. But maybe I just need to play against it, and maybe my eyes will be opened. Just like you need to play against my chosen chariot list.
I would love to. Yeah, we can have it married off. We'll see.
I don't feel like that's a good army to play against the chariots, because if you're playing like cavalry into my chariots, that's just fully leaning into what I want to do, which seems unreasonable.
Let's do it. Let's see what happens.
We'll do it. We'll pencil that in at some point. Sweet. But yeah, like I say, you've got the experience with it, so I will give you the B. And do you want it above the War Altar? I think from what you're saying, it has to be above War Altar, surely.
I agree. Within the tiers, I generally don't discriminate. That's like for me, that's the purpose of the tier. But
I do for the first sort of 40 minutes, and then I get bored.
That makes sense. Okay, I think it's definitely ahead of the War Altar. But
it's also way more fun to agonize and be like, oh god, is this terrible unit slightly less terrible than the other unit? I don't know. It's hard to say. So then we've got the Lion Chariot, and as much as I said I liked it at the start, I think, spoilers, I don't think I could go above B with this either. This is just like, if you want a fighty lord, go for this. It's a heavy chariot instead of a light chariot. I actually don't even know that I go for this. I actually like the Sky Cutter more than I like the
I agree.
The Lion Chariot. But yeah, I think it's fine. I'm hoping to see some sort of, trace detachment when we get the High Elf book quite soon.
Yeah,
I think that'd be cool.
I've heard things that that's in the works. I think that's a likely choice, and I've also heard that you'll be able to take the lions on their own, which would be nifty.
That would be cool.
Yeah. The White Lion Chariot as a unit on its own is like fine. It's okay. It's like there's a whole bunch of chariots on this list that I find are like okay, reasonable units. It's all the ones that are kind of heavy chariots with decent armor, have some kind of nifty rule, and then don't have Swift Stride. I rank them all pretty similarly.
Not having Swift Stride is an absolute killer.
Yeah, that's kind of like a big cutting point. I still think this is fine as like a solo unit. It does have a niche role with the Archmage with the White Lion Honor, where if you go illusion, the White Lion's axe is actually a decent doppelganger weapon. It's free, so it comes with the vow, and then you can spend your points on all of the defensive items plus your lore familiar. So
yeah, that's true, and also. If depending, you'll have to get a TO to rule it, but given that strikes first doesn't apply from your weapon for casting assailments, I would argue that strikes last also doesn't apply, and therefore you just absolutely slap at initiative with that. Yeah, that's cool. I should get behind that. Oh hell yeah! Tanoko Skylar says Tomb King Chariots, no matter where they go, they'll always be an S for me. I think you're going to be pretty fucking pleased with this.
Yeah.
Like, you ain't got nothing to worry about. This is going to be pretty good for you. And thank you for your generosity. But yeah, so Lion Chariots, I think, so the big problem I have with this sort of subsector chariots, and we're going to see loads of them, the Black Orc Chariot, the regular Chaos Chariot, there's loads of them that have like a 7 or 8 inch move that hit reasonably hard if they charge, and they never charge because who's playing infantry outside of some silly death bricks that are teleporting around and you don't catch them anyway? Speaking from experience, playing into a teleporting brick on Sunday with a chariot list. But like you just theoretically shouldn't get the charge with these heavy chariots, and they're also kind of squishy. You're paying 130 odd points for 4 wounds. T5 with a 4 or 3 up save, usually a 3 up save against shooting at least, which is fine. It's like solid, but there's a lot that just picks that off quite quickly. And I think that comes down to a little bit of difference of what we see played. Like there's more range damage, I think, typically on the table.
No, I agree. I agree with that assessment. I think when you're looking at your opponent's army and you see those kind of units, those are kind of like the units you're looking to pick up in your tally. Like for the amount of wounds and the defensive stats it has, it is worth a lot of points. So that's like where you should be targeting your guns, where you should be sending your, quick units that can go assassinate it, right? So yeah, I think those can be a bit of a liability. But likewise, I think played in a kind of knowing way of that, you can kind of shield them, keep them out of range of things. So not just needlessly expose them to the cannons and the Iron Drakes of the world. So sure. Yeah, that's what I have them in B as well. I think they're like a fine choice. Like piggybacked pretty hard off of the Archmage, but I think it's
the Archmage has definitely made me go from here to here. I do like the So I've played Spectral Doppelganger once now, like at one event, just a silly RTT list, and oh god, what a hell of a drug. Here's the problem: it's not good. And it's never going to be good because there are so many fail states. You're like, I didn't cast the spell. I got dispelled. I rolled a 2 on the number of hits. I got eaten by something before I got to strike because I didn't get the charge because I'm on a stupid chariot. There are all of these things can go wrong. But when it goes right, what a hell of a drug. Like, 100%. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Doppelganger, but I agree with you. Yeah.
Oh, I'm a big fan of it. I just don't think it's good. That's the problem.
Yeah, fair. Good way to say it. Yeah.
And Lothan's Skycutter. I actually like this more than the Tyrannok Chariot, but I think I might struggle to put it in A. So the thing that I like about this is it's a heavy chariot, and it only has D3 plus 1 impact hits, but it does have Swift Stride as well. And it has Fly.
Yep.
It's great. That's just cool. Ticks a lot of boxes. What is it? A 10-inch fly? Yeah, 10-inch move. That's nuts. You've got 2 attacks on there with Wicked Claws, strength 4 AP2. You got 3 cavalry spears. You've got whatever you want to put on it. It's only 90 points. Yes, it only has a 4-up save. Oh, if only there was some way for High Elves to get a really good save for basically nothing.
Yeah.
Doesn't exist, does it? Shame.
Yeah, I mean, as a unit choice, you nailed it. Like, I think it's like a solid piece. It does have a couple liabilities to it. One is if you're playing as Bretonia, it becomes kind of just a brick.
Oh god, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I was having such a good time.
It's one of those.
My day.
It's one of those units that makes the Falconhorn really stink.
I hate that.
Yeah, so that's a thing to consider. And then another thing to consider is it is a bit squishy, and it's also just another thing that again, when you're looking at your opponent's army list, you're like, okay, I can get points off this. It is a bit quick usually, so you don't always have to again expose it to danger. But I feel like you're better off running the bolt thrower upgrade on it and playing kind of passively with it if it's just a unit choice.
Okay,
it's not going to do a whole lot for you in that role. Like the shooting is not very impactful. So generally, I'm not super high on it as just a unit. Like it's like a reasonable unit.
Yeah.
As a character mount, again, it has the benefit of being able to be ridden by an Archmage and then, doing that kind of stuff. If you put a combat character in there, you can turn it into kind of like off-brand dragon.
It's a budget dragon. I'd argue it's better than a Sun Dragon, the cheapest, and it's like half the points because you don't have impetuous. You're lower toughness, yes. You've got a similar amount of the wounds. You've got you're paying half the points. The attacks are worse. You don't have stomps. You get some impact hits. It's different, but for the price you're paying, like if I'm looking at taking spamming cheap characters, I'm way more interested in going here and just be like, oh, here's a regen, and that's just going to keep me alive a lot of the time. A 3-up save and a 5-up regen.
Yeah, I do enjoy the Sun Dragon quite a bit. I just find I struggle to think of a, like, if I want a solo character or like my prince or my BSB, I'm gonna put them on a dragon, right? Like I just don't see the reason to put it on the chariot. If I want the Archmage and I want that doppelganger thing, it is a fine choice, and it is like cheaper because the Archmage can get quite pricey with all the magic items you're going to give it. But as a mount, I think it's like reasonable, but I think there are better choices in the High Elf book. So
that's super fair. Tanoko says Chariots are immune to Killing Blow and Monster Slayer, which is a super fair point and something we should really contextualize everything in. Chariots are looking way better than they did just a few months ago. People have worked out you can put light chariots in unit. That's just good. Heavy chariots maybe making a comeback, or one specific heavy chariot that's just come out. I've you know how I feel about the Chaos Chosen chariot. But yeah, no, I really like chariots, and I'm excited to play around with them, but not Black Orc chariots because I played them on Sunday and reminded myself just how mediocre they are. They're just
yeah, I love chariots. Chariots are great for that reason. That's kind of why I wanted to do the list, because partly we can talk about that stuff, and also they're just great units usually. So
absolutely. And speaking of things that I should do, I should thank my members. Thank you to everyone who supports. There's a Discord down below. You don't have to be a member if you want to pop in. There's like coming up 400 of us now. It's a great place. Everyone's nice, and if they're not, then they get told off. But I don't have to tell people off very often, which is great. And special thanks to my 4 Grail Knight tier supporters: Mecha Knight, Krieg Hammer, Ginger Steve, and Cameron's Battle Reports. I really appreciate you. All right. That aside, we can go back to... it goes in B. I think I like it more than the Lion, but the less than the Tyrannok, now that you've reminded me that the Falconhorn exists.
I rank it... I would probably put it just below the Lion Chariot. But like it's like a very small margin.
Yeah.
I think they're both fine. So
yeah. I'm just going to say, let's move on, and I'm not going to move it. So we're moving on... As the person with the mouse, I have the power here.
You do, yeah.
We're on to... Oh, hell yeah. Brian just became a member as well. Thank you for joining. Appreciate that, Brian. We've got Goblin Wolf Chariots. And if you asked me about them 3 months ago, I'd be like, they're really funny. Nomadic War, you can just take loads of them. Ha 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 ha. And now I'm like, hold on.
Yeah.
These things might be actually pretty good.
Yeah.
They go in goblin units that teleport. Or even just like cheap units of Goblin Wolf Riders. Not Wolf Riders. Well, yes, but like Goblin Wolf Chariots. You'd be like, here's like Ablative Wounds Chariot, and also here's a character that hits like weirdly hard. And is super cheap. I think they're really interesting. How about yourself?
Big fan. Kind of very similar to the Tyrannok Chariot. They have comparable stats. They're a bit cheaper. They do have Impetuous, which is like a fairly sizable downside for this kind of unit. You don't always want to be running into melee there. Orcs and Goblins do have a few ways to kind of mitigate that with the Thinking Hat and Black Orc stuff.
Yeah.
So I love these. As a squad, they're kind of just fine. Like they're similar to the Tyrannok Chariot unit. As a character mount, they are excellent. I think almost every Goblin character should be riding this. Importantly, I don't think you should take the extra wolf upgrade because it makes the base size different.
Yes.
If you're going to add them to infantry units or to wolf riders, just so they can fit cleanly. It's not as bad if you're with just one, but if you're putting more than one, it gets really awkward, really wide quickly. So I'm if you're going to put Tyrannox in B, I put these with them too. I think they're right there.
I wonder if I'd put them above, honestly, because the thing that High Elves can't do is they can't have a teleporting poison shooting brick.
Yep.
And Goblins can. And you know what they have? The Goblin Wolf Chariot has over the Tomb King ones. Like, it is more points, but it also has 3 bow shots, which is surprisingly nice when you've got a 50 mil frontage. you end up losing, I think, 1 shot on average, or
I
no
think
shots.
both the
Maths.
Tyrannoch and the Skeleton Chariot have bows too.
Not the one that you've got the Tomb King on. The Tomb King
Oh
has
yeah, that's
no
right.
crew,
Character mount. Yeah, that's
which
true.
is like, it makes sense because the model doesn't. But yeah, I actually think you lose no shots at all from Volley Fire. Anyway, by the by, I really like them. I think I'm interested in running them. We've got some great points here in chat. Tiny green Mongolians and wolves are great to use and think about. Hell yeah,
Yep.
the best reason to use them. Also, move 9 with a Warbound reroll. Yeah. Impet and Swift Stride. Yeah, that's big. So that sort of movement and Swift Stride is a double-edged sword with when you've got a impetuous unit. It's like, yeah, I can get whatever I need to get, and then you're like, oh, hold on, I have to get something from like turn 2 onwards at the latest, which is fine. Just play a full violence list, but you've definitely got to play around it. But
the thinking hat and the Black Orc stuff is kind of obligatory for that. Yeah, if you're going to run this. Yeah.
I absolutely agree. Anthony says, hello from the Philippines. Look after yourself, Anthony. You are allowed to sleep. And Ben says, can you put heavy chariots in units? You can't. It's the lumbering rule that that chariots and behemoths and monstrous creatures have that stops you from doing that.
One thing I will note over the Goblin Chariot that the Tyrannoch has over it is that the Goblin Wizard, I don't believe, can ride this. So you can't do any wizard stuff with that. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you can, because I played against one on Sunday. So I hope Toby wasn't cheating.
Then maybe you can.
We're going to check and call you out if you're wrong. Toby?
Let's see.
Are you doing the right thing? So I shout out to Toby, who I played a ringer game at the TSN Arena for this weekend, because he's got a super cool converted.
Oh yeah, you can.
Yeah,
you
perfect.
I'm wrong. Yeah, you can.
But it was being pulled by spiders because he's got a full spider army, and it was pretty awesome.
You know what it is? It's that the Night Goblin one can't. It's just the common Goblin can't. Because I was thinking you can't do the doppelganger thing with the Night Goblin. The Night Goblin's the only one that can have illusion. So.
That would be pretty funny because they're so squishy that you can't even get them into combat. But if you chuck some like 4 extra wounds and a bit of toughness on it, you're like,
then
okay. Yeah. And a cheap armor save. I'm going to, and I'm open to moving this down as we move along. But I'm going to put them there, and we'll see if anyone's upset about it. If you're upset, I'm going to leave it here. That's talking to chat. Your rage fuels me. Perfect. Matthew says it solves your catching elves problem. Charged around like a lunatic. That is one way of looking at it. That is a true orc and goblin player perspective. Of course, I'm going to catch them. I have to charge them. That's how it works. Moving on, we've got a unit that I'm way less interested in, and that's the regular orc boar chariot. It's there. It's fine. You can get a 3rd crew member. You can give it frenzy. You can give it a 6-up ward. Starts to get expensive when you do all of these things. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, T5, 4 wounds, 4-up save. Impetuous, move 7, no Swift Stride.
Yeah, it's just kind of one of those ones, kind of bog standard. It's like, it is a piece. It's a little slow. It's one of those tasty items your opponent's looking to kill. It's like all right. Like I think I'm looking at like mid tier somewhere. Yeah.
I think so. Oh, Anthony upgraded to Longbeard as well. Thank you very much, Anthony. I appreciate you. I think I would put it in C because there's so much good stuff in Orcs and Goblins. There are better chariots.
Yeah.
There are better units. I'd take Boar Boys over Orc Boar Chariots, for example. You can run them not quite as cheap, but you can still run them like cheap MSU and just be better. I struggle to find a place for Orc Boar Chariots, honestly.
Yeah, they do have first charge, which is nice. There aren't many ways to get first charge with Orcs and Goblins, so that is a thing. It does have a bevy of special rules, as orcs usually do, which kind of help it a little bit. So it might be on the higher end of like this class of chariot, but this class of chariot I'm not as excited about. So
yeah, no, absolutely. And I think before the Black Orc chariot came out, I would have put it slightly higher. But then I played with Orc chariots and I was like, oh,
yeah,
okay. So I'm going to be controversial. I'm going to put this here as well. I think it's better, but I think it might be worse than the Orc chariot. And this is excluding taking them outside of Nomadic War. If you take them outside of Nomadic War as a mount for a character, which you can do, but some places will stop you from doing, I think they're fantastic. You can layer the saves. You've got a really tanky character. Amazing. If you take them in Nomadic War, you've got to take non-mount options as well. And then you're just running 134 points of really inefficient choices. And they're fun and they're cool if you convert them up, but I just can't put them on the table and feel happy with myself.
Yeah, it so as a as an aside, I do compare this one pretty heavily to the Chaos Chariot, the Chosen.
No, there's no counter charge.
That is the one difference. Yeah, there's no.
It's a pretty big difference.
It is a solid difference. But I on the table I see this as kind of just like a more expensive version of that Orc Board Chariot. It does have slightly better stats.
Yeah.
And it the one thing that it kind of lacks mainly in that army that would kind of put it over the edge is that the other Black Orc units have the Quell Impetuous rule, and this one doesn't.
Yes, right? Because you can only take it natively in Nomadic War, and you lose Quell Impetuosity in Nomadic War as a Black Orc because you're having too much fun. You're going too fast. The wind's in your hair.
Yeah,
you've lost all regard for life in it,
which is a shame because that would be a killer item. Because as we said before, the Goblin Chariots really want something to stop their impetuous, but unfortunate.
Yeah, Matthew. So Matthew's saying with a character on, it's one of the best Orcs and Goblin units. 2-up save and a regen with Troll Pants, and it ruins people. I 100% agree.
Yep.
I was running one really soon after it came out. I like it with a standard, a BSB War Banner, or Big Red Raggedy Flag. You get to that static 4 combat res. You can war to get a 5th combat res. I've ran down dragons from this unit, and it seems wild for me to say that I'm going to put it in C. I'm not talking about it as the sort of outside of Nomadic War, because I think a lot of places don't let you play it.
As a character mount, do you want the Black Orc Chariot over the Orc Chariot?
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. So you get on the charge, or you get great weapon attacks basically, and you get the combat res. So the regular Orc Boar Chariot, I don't believe, can have a standard. You can still put a BSB on, but the combination of taking a normal standard. I'd never take it on the normal ones because you're just giving up standard points for like free. But so hold on. Matthew says you called out the other ones based on characters. I call shenanigans. That's fair. It's only because it's a little bit dicey as to whether you're allowed to do it. You are allowed to do it. I think some places don't let you do it, and there's definitely been a lot of pushback because it's not super clear.
I think it's reasonable to take it in a.
I'm putting it top of A if you put a character on it. So if you want for a screenshot, there we go. That's with the character on it. But because I'm talking about it the rest of the time, where like if you take it in Nomadic War, you have to take just one in a rare slot.
Even with the standard, like as a thing, it is 50 points more than the Orc Chariot, right? And
I'd pay that.
As far as defense, but as defensive stats go, you're not gaining anything because your big guy on top of it already gives it the good saves and stuff. The attacks, you gain like a couple with the Furious Charge, and then the great weapons over the Cav Spears is nice. But otherwise, all you're getting for that is the standard, right?
Yeah, but I think the standard's really strong because it gets you to like a really solid bit of combat res. So the way that you use it as an Orcs and Goblin player is you're never going to get the charge with it. So you use it as a tanky sort of, I'm going to send this forwards towards you, I'm going to march towards you, I'm in charge range of you. Do you want to charge me? You can do. I'm going to hit you with, even if it's just a boss on top, I'm going to hit you with 5 great weapon attacks. That's a good start. I'm reasonably tough as well. I've got a 3-up save in combat. I've got a 5-up regen as well. I'm probably winning that combat because I've got the 4 static combat res. Then you run away, and I survive, and I follow up and I hit you with the impact hits. That's kind of the use case that I find with the Black Orc Chariot, because you're not going to get a charge with it.
As far as the standard goes, I feel like if you're going to put the standard on it, that implies to me you want to use it on its own. It's going to be its own little unit that goes and fights things. I think when you're taking a unit like that, you often, like a character mount on a chariot, you don't usually want to go in alone. You want to go in with a unit too. So it's like a combo charge kind of piece because it packs a lot of damage into that small frontage. So often charging your chariot with your brick or with your cavalry is kind of like the preferred way of going. So I like even having my eyes open to that you could take the standard on that and not the Orc Chariot. I'm still not sold on taking that over the Orc Chariot for amount, but anyway.
So just very quickly, and then we'll move on. The reason that I like that is a lot of the times as an Orcs and Goblins player, you're going to be outranged by your opponent. Even if you've got like ball boys, they're only a 16-inch charge. You might be playing against, Pegasus Knights with their 19-inch charge or what have you. So having something that you can sort of bait your opponent in or make your opponent commit in, because either they come forwards or they move backwards. But if you get close enough, you're going to charge them even if they move backwards with the chariot. You just sort of make them... It's a problem that you make them deal with.
Okay.
It's fine. It's not amazing.
Yeah, I'm certainly not putting it any higher than where we have it there. Like that's kind of where I would have it. Yeah. So
yeah. But again, if you want to take it outside of Nomadic War as a champion, like the full upgraded BSB, I think it's a phenomenal unit and would recommend all Orc players do it. But I'm leaving it in C. Yep. So we'll talk about Snotlings, and Snotlings are going in F.
Yeah. They are a very fun unit. They're really cool to model. They're nifty. I personally, I have like a very soft spot in my heart for them. They are not at their best in this edition.
No,
they're slow. They're kind of piddly. They do a surprising amount of damage for what you would imagine, but it's just that they're kind of ineffectual in how they get there with the random move and the kind of low toughness, low save combo.
Ben C says if the pump wagon doesn't get an S, you're getting a strongly worded letter. Well, head on down to Discord. There is a Discord in the chat. There is a channel named Tier List, and you can write all of your opinions as long as you accompany them with your own version of the tier list. That's the strongly worded letter that I want to see. Exile says, why is D below F? Oh, you're going to see. You're going to see in a while. It's a little while. But you'll see. You'll see.
It is S tier in memes, but F tier in on the field, unfortunately. Yeah.
All right, we're 45 minutes in, and we've still got 2/3 of them, so it's fine. What we'll do is the ones that are good, we'll talk about a lot, and the ones that are less good, we can kind of just talk about a little bit. So, Chaos Chariot. This is, I think, very similar to sort of a Lion Chariot. But better, because you probably want to put your spellcaster on it. It's a tanky wound pool to put a Chaos Sorcerer on and just cast spells. Other than that, I don't want to see them.
Yeah, as a unit, it's almost exactly the same as the Boar Chariot. As a mount, it's probably slightly better than the Boar Chariot. It does have a nice save. So the wizard going on it gets the nice armor save. The wizard is kind of just a natural fit for this as well, giving it the ward save by default.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm almost exactly with you there. It has most of the rules you would want a chariot to have. Except one.
So the reason that the Boar Chariot doesn't go up is for the same reasons for the spell casting. Is you can put an Orc Weird Knob on it, and that's fine, but you then get impetuous and you have to pay points to get around it, and it's way worse defensively, and you don't come natively with a ward save. So I just don't see the battle magic caster on top. Oh, and you don't have like an insane magic missile spell as an Orcs and Goblin player just sat there waiting for you to take it for no penalty. I pay 10 points. Oh no, my attacks are burning now. Shame. Your board is burning. Get fucked.
True.
It's me remembering all the times I've played Magic Missile builds. Oh, God, I love them. So then let's talk about the Gore-Beast Chariot. And this is one of the chariots that does exist. And I think it's worse. Like, it hits harder, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't do anything, like, oppressive. It doesn't break the game in any of the ways that you want the game to be broken. And then if it gets into combat, it's just slightly better in combat with some killing blow attacks.
That's pretty much how I feel about it too. If you're looking for something that's slightly killier and slightly less quick, then
it gets one extra impact hit. That's cool.
They do have killing blow. The Gore-Beast does, but which can ruin some troll player or ogre player's day. But that's really all there is to say about this one. It's in that class of reasonable heavy chariot. As a character mount, I think it's slightly worse than the standard Chaos Chariot.
Yeah, it costs more, and you don't
Yep.
have points to waste.
And
And
one lower speed. So yeah.
oh, I hadn't even noticed that. And for that reason, I'm out. You're in C tier. Get in the bin. If I was taking normal Chaos Chariots, this would be an upgrade, but I'm not doing that. So yeah, it's 3 attacks at Strength 5 with Killing Blow, with Hand Weapon. It doesn't even have AP. I think it might have Armor Bane 1, but like, come
It
on,
does.
man.
Yep.
That's so sad. If you know what, if they wrote the rules poorly, which I'd never accuse Games Workshop of doing, but if the Killing Blow applied to the impact hits, then we're talking. It's probably still not good even with that, but it's funny. I'd pay good money for that. Yeah, Killing Blow is mopey on a non-Swift Stride unit that can't pick its targets, and then dies before it gets to swing because it gets charged by something.
Yeah.
Sad times. Now, gird your loins, because the Chosen Chariots go in an S tier, baby.
Oh.
Woo! I am so high on this, and if you're here, you may know that. Auce knows that. So basically, it's a chariot, a Chaos Chariot. It costs more points. That's fine. It has 2 Chosen on top, so you get 2 attacks with halberds. Halberds are okay. You know what? You get 4 attacks at Strength 5, AP 1. Sure. You can go in Sorcerer Weapons. Sure. It has counter charge. It's so good because if you position well, you have to position well. If you allow yourself to be outpositioned, it does nothing. This is a given, and it's, you know, one of those units where you can really mess up with it. But if you are against infantry, it beats infantry because it's a chariot. That's what chariots do. Now, I know what you're saying. That doesn't sound like an achievement. That's fine. We're getting past that. If you play against cavalry, it beats cavalry. It has countercharge and impact hits. You're going to tell me, but 1/3 of the time it doesn't get the impact hits. If you're playing against someone competent, they can't take that risk. Like, are you going to take 3 Pegasus Knights and say, oh, I'm going to charge this Chosen Chariot in the front? You know, 66% of the time, I take a load of impact hits. And then also they hit me at, you know, better initiative because they're initiative 4, and I'm sad. I've kind of waffled enough. People know that I love the Chosen Chariot, so time for you to give your thesis on why they're terrible.
As a realist, here are the downsides of the Chosen Chariot. One, you have to take the as we've called it on this stream, the Heralds of the Sea army.
Yeah, Heralds is the downside. I will give you that.
So you're really limiting yourself compared to the Grand Army or Wolves of the Sea, which I think are both superior to this one. The need to take identical marks in that army can also cause issues. So if you're trying to put Nurgle on your character mounts, you then have to take a bunch of Nurgle units. So it kind of like either restricts you from taking that or forces you to make weird army choices. The countercharge not working for impact hits 1/3 of the time is a huge downside that I don't know if you fully accepted into your heart.
No, because it isn't. Because I'm not talking about playing against bad players who ignore it. Because you should just beat them. If you're a competent player and someone that isn't factoring that into their decision making, you should just beat them. Unless they're playing a full send army, at which point sometimes you roll the dice. You know, I give you that one. If they just want to full violence you, yeah, sometimes it happens. But if you're playing a game where positioning matters, it's insanely good because people have to take it into account, or you should beat them because they're terrible. Please continue.
Aside from the downsides of that, it is a reasonable choice to put your characters in it. As far as the countercharge goes, it does add to the unit. The stats are very comparable to the Chaos Chariot, and it seems like it's just more points than it. I don't think there's much more to it than that. It's like the kind of list that you're describing with a bunch of characters on them, I think kind of might fall victim to the gun lines that you'll face because, you know, it's a lot of points for what it is. And, you know, the saves are reasonable, but they're not unbelievable. Like it'll die to a few cannon shots.
So it's 218 points for the loadout I like, which is the cheap aspiring champion, flail, shield, a single favor of the gods, and the chariot, and that's all you go with, and that gives you 6 wounds, T5, 3-up save, and a 5-up ward, and that's just like at that price point. That is a stat line that I'm very happy to get shot because I'm going to bring 3 of them. There is, I know you're, you know, everyone in the Discord from your side of the pond is more interested in taking the upgraded chariots. I think I'm more of a fan of having more pieces that are less good and just using them, having 3 instead of 2. But you could, if you were really worried about the shooting, you should just go like an aspiring champion BSB and then a Chaos Lord and then also a Sorcerer Lord. And you can have double regen on those, and that gets you a triple save on both your chariots if you're really worried about the risk of cannons. But I think I will say, as much as I want to put them in S, you have made some compelling points, mostly that you have to take them in Heralds of the Sea, which is bad. Like if you could take 500 points a core and didn't have the mark restrictions, I think Heralds would be a very okay army. I was almost going to say competitive. It'd be solid. It would be fine. It would be like,
it would be similar to the Grand
one
Army.
of the ways you could play Warriors of Chaos and not feel bad about it. But
I just don't see it the same way I see the Steam Tank is the thing. It's like I could see your argument that it's like you might want to take this.
Yeah.
But the Steam Tank I would take in any army I could. Like it's that
sure.
good, right? So yeah.
I think genuinely I would take this in any army I could. I'd take this. Oh god, I'd take this in Bretonnians. Maybe not the character version because the Pegasus are so good, but I'd fill up my rare slots with them. That would be a treat. Anyway,
no, I was just thinking. I don't think there are many other chariots that have countercharge, so that is a unique.
It is the only one in the game that has countercharge. Just like, and I didn't address this earlier, the Lothan Skycutter, I believe, is the only heavy chariot with Swift Stride and that fly. But then
might be true. I think one of the demon ones might have that. I think the exalted slash one. I think might have that.
Yes, but that's bad for other reasons. The other reasons being it's demons, and thus made out of tissue paper. I play against dwarf shooting a lot, so magical shooting really likes those spindly chariots.
Bad news, but yeah, I think A is a fine place. I would have it a little lower, but I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, we'll meet in the middle. I don't think I could ever really justify putting it in S, but I'm happy with A tier. So let's move on to the worst version of Warriors of Chaos, and that's Beastmen. Beastmen have a better magic missile and a worse everything else, and also some of the things in your book you can take in Warriors of Chaos. Don't like them. So we've got 2 chariots, and they're fine.
Yeah, the Razorgore chariot, I think, as a unit is the better of the 2. As a character mount, the Tuskor chariot I think is better in a similar way that the Gore Beast and the Chaos chariot are. Razorgore is slower, does more damage. Tuskor chariot is a little faster. The otherwise, like the Tuskor chariot and the Orc Boar chariot are nearly identical, and then the Razorgore chariot is a little more killy. That's pretty much all there is to them. I think almost every Beastman army will have one of these as their sorcerer mount. I think it's like the preferred way to take that. So on the back of that alone, I think the floor for this is B tier. But
yeah, and Wuta has a good point. Tuskor core. Yeah, I agree. Like they're a genuinely solid way to fill out your core slots. And they are outclassed by the best light chariot in the game, a single angry pig. But sometimes you've run out of Razorgore, either models or the ability to put more in your list. And you're like, I want more MSU dumb things. So I think for me, the Razorgore is just analogous to a Gore Beast, but there's less stuff that's better than it in the Beastman list. And then the Tuskor chariot is probably...
Ooh.
Yeah,
that's higher than I would put it.
I want to put it here, but it's not. It's the fact that the caster's really good, but you don't have to put the caster. Like, especially now we're seeing teleporting bricks. All right. I think I'm more... Like, you're going to see it more often than a Tyrannok chariot, that's for sure. It's pretty ubiquitous, right? You see it in pretty much every list.
That's fair. I think the Tyrannok chariot is showing up in a lot of lists recently, but yeah, that's fair.
I think it just hasn't made its way over across the pond yet. But again, you've played it, so we'll shift it up like that. I think 1A, 1B is not the end of the world to have them super close. I just got away with putting the Chosen Chariot at the top of A, so I got to give you something back. Like, I got to be reasonable here. All right, Skeleton Chariots. You can take these separately. I don't really care if you do. You can put characters on them. Oh, they're so good. Yep. It's 35 points for 3 wounds.
Yep.
When was that ever acceptable?
Yeah, it's a great choice. As a unit, they're kind of whatever. Oh wow, essay. Yeesh. Okay.
100%. Yeah. It's so
They
good.
are. They are. They're quite good. There's not a lot to say other than as mounts. They like it's kind of the same reason as before. The killing blow, monster slayer protection, and the extra defensive stats help a lot. It makes your characters kind of like unreasonable to deal with in combat if they're going to get healed, because
Yes.
chomping through all those wounds with all those saves is just like such a tough thing to do. And then as a squad, they're kind of whatever. There's been I've seen some successful tournament lists that have them in it, but they're kind of like you take them just because that's the core unit you're going to take, right? So
Sure.
that's what it is.
I think they have fundamentally broken interactions that need to be fixed. Like, if you have a light chariot character in a unit and you heal, the healing goes to the chariot first, and then it heals the same amount as it would heal infantry. I think that's how a lot of places are ruling it at the moment. That's some bullshit. That's some real bullshit. It makes them really hard to chew through. The fact that you can put Royal Heralds next to a Tomb King, and the Tomb King loads up for violence, and the Heralds load up for defense, and then you pass all your hits out of the challenge from the Tomb King onto the Heralds. That needs to be fixed. I understand that's not the chariot, but the whole chariot package there is
it adds
very
another
compelling.
dimension to the Death Star army for sure.
Yeah.
I apologize for helping birth that into the world, but it is what it
You're
is.
a bad man. That's good, because I've had people telling me that I'm to blame for the poison meta because I keep talking about it and shouting it out. So I had nothing to do with it. It's all Auce.
If you control or search for my post on the Warhammer Discord or the Honest Warhammer Discord, you'll see a lot of me talking about poison archer units. So that's partly my fault, and then also the chariot in a unit thing I've helped popularize too.
That was when you sent that to me. I was like, that's really interesting. I'm excited to build around that. And then I saw it on the table. I was like, I hate this. This is so awful. Tomb Guard chariots, though, another chariot that exists. You can only play it in Royal Host. Who plays Royal Host?
until a month ago, no one, and now lots of people. So I've yet to see this on the board. I think it's on the lower end of that class of heavy chariot, or it's not even heavy chariot; it's the light chariot. So
it's the heavy light chariot.
Yeah,
it just does the same thing as these. I think I like it more than an orc boar chariot, because they're still pretty cheap and they don't have impetuous.
Well, it doesn't have the heavy chariot rules, so it's not AP on the impact hits.
Yeah, that's true.
It's kind of piddly. It toughness 4, like very weak stats. It has the benefit of being undead, so like it has all the good things about undead. It has reserve move, which is nice. It
has all the bad things about being undead as well.
I mean, yes and no. Like
you charge the front of a unit, you lose combat because you're bad.
Yeah,
and then you crumble.
I'm not high on these. I think you have them in a good spot there.
Yeah. That seems super reasonable to me. Tell you what, I have got on a high spot. We've done all of the core factions, and now we're on to that street illegal juice straight into your veins. It's the Iron Demon. And are you wanting this right up next to the Steam Tank? I have played with them, but it has been about 6 months.
I'm building them as we speak. Yes, they're not quite as good as the Steam Tank, but I think almost every Chaos Dwarf army will have at least one, if not two.
Yeah.
They're a little bit squishier than the Steam Tank. The gun
7
is probably
wounds for some reason.
Yeah. The gun is a little bit worse than the cannon. You would rather have the cannon than the kind of organ gun thing it has. Otherwise, it is excellent. It has a few tricks. You can do the nasty stuff with the steam carriage and move around your war machines and do crazy things.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it, but I know you're a big fan of Mystical Pathways. If you Mystical Pathways an Iron Demon with the steam carriage, the war machines come too. So you can do all kinds of wacky stuff with that.
I don't think that's good, but that's really funny.
It's funny. Yeah, it's funny and it's interesting. I've played against that and it was kind of hilarious. They're excellent. There's not much more to say about them. They're decent in combat. They hit harder than you think. They're strength 7 on the impact hits and the stomps. There's 3 dwarfs on it, so it has like a lot of little attacks too to add more random combat res. Unbreakable. What more can you say? It's excellent.
It's really good. Yeah. There was a lot of love in chat as soon as we started talking about Iron Demons, the travel mystical baggage train. Very good, very good. But yeah, I think for me, probably below the other two. I think I'm happy with it being at the bottom of S, but it's still real good. I think another comparison is, especially compared to Empire, you got a lot of other stuff that you're willing to take in Chaos Dwarves as opposed to the Iron Demons. You can take a whole load of Hobgoblins, as you've been asserting.
You can. It is kind of the thing. Yeah, that's the thing is every single Chaos Dwarf list starts with the question of, do you want 2 Iron Demons? Do you want 1 Iron Demon? And that's a question that Empire players wish they could pose themselves, but unfortunately in the current state of the game, you can't. So it does kind of limit what else you can take in the Chaos Dwarf army, because if you're taking 800 plus points of characters and then 600 points of Iron Demons, you've only got 100 points of flex space, right? So
yeah, that's fair. Holbreg wants a Wood Elf Chariot, which I agree with. I'd love to see a Wood Elf Chariot. He started a conversion 20 years ago and still needs to finish it. That's a hell of a pile of shame. I got to say, that's some commitment.
Beastman Chariot, why not a Wood Elf one, right? Yeah.
Hell yeah! Like I say, I think Beastmen are more plains than Deep Woods, but I could be wrong with that. Someone correct me. SBOT3K double steam tank coming. Yeah, hell yeah, that's going to be fun.
On your weather report, don't you have them in the middle of the Drackwood forest there? I'm pretty sure.
I don't know if that's accurate. I kind of just put them there.
I think so.
Yeah. I'll be honest. The first time I did it for SBOT1, I kind of was just like, these all make fairly logical sense. And then for 2, I was like, I'm not thinking about this. This is where they live. We got Dark Elves, and you can take Scourge Runners, and Scourge Runners can have a Bolt Thrower, and you are -2 if you move.
Yep.
Yay.
They are, as a unit, they're like slightly worse Tyrannok Chariots. So not a big fan. The Bolt Thrower, kind of whatever. The times I've seen this played, it's had the Bolt Thrower on it. It's not super exciting. The main downside of this is that you can't do the Tyrannok join units thing with this one. So
sure,
that's what it is. I don't believe the high elf or the Dark Elf nobles can ride these.
No, but I was looking at the and I can't remember if I sent it to you or someone else who was completely uninterested. The Beastmaster, he's weapon skill 7. He only has 3 attacks, but he's also real cheap, and he can go on this. So you can do like a pseudo character in Chariot. You just don't get to go for the top level one. So maybe
the battle standard is the key, right? Like that's the one of the main draws to this is it protects your battle standard, gives them more wounds.
Yeah, that is super fair. That is very fair.
The Beastmaster is a fine model. I've seen it on a Manticore before. I've never seen it on the Scourge Runner.
Yeah, I'm just double checking. It's weird that you can't put them on a. Yeah, you just straight up can't put them on a Scourge Runner Chariot. I don't understand why that is.
Just legacy faction oversight. Like there's several things that are kind of just weirdly missing.
Yeah,
that people probably have models for in their closet that just you can't take anymore.
Dark Elf Pegasus, shout out. You know, that's a big miss. It's a real shame. But yeah, so for me, I don't find them particularly appealing at all. To be honest, I think I'd see them in C.
Yep, that's where I am too. They're kind of meh. Yep.
Kind of meh. Cold One Chariot. Now, this is a chariot that's got 4 attacks from its horses, or cold ones. Strength 4, Armor Bane 1. It's not bad. It's, reasonably tough. It's stupid. It hasn't a Swift Stride. I hate it. I hate it so much. Get in the bin. You're going...
It's on the low end of those, that group, I think.
It's just, I can't justify it. When I was playing Dark Elves, there were loads of people being like, have you tried a noble? Or a lord on one? I was like, I've got dragons. Like, the Dark Elf dragon's so good. If I'm playing Dark Elves, I've probably got to play at minimum 1. And I love 2. So I'm not dropping one of those just to take a mediocre chariot that just doesn't get to play the game half the time.
Yeah. It's kind of whatever. Yeah, like you kind of said it. You could put a character in there, but you want to pay points to give your character stupid? Like, do you want to do that? I don't know.
Well, John says yes. The main downside of the Scourge Runner is it lacks stupidity, and that's stupidity is what everyone wants on their heavy chariots. I misread that the first time round. I was like, yeah, no, you're absolutely right, John. Nobody wants stupidity. And then I reread it. Very good, very good. You can take the Wizarding Hat on your Cold One Chariot for big value, I'm sure.
True.
Yeah.
It's kind of free. It's free.
I have been bullied is the wrong word. I have in my pick my list series. All of my members who have voted for me to play Lizardmen and
Oh
not
no.
take Bastillodons, Stegodons, Carnosaurs, or Skinks. So I'm like, I guess it's a cold one bus. But cold ones, like cold one riders, suck. Like the Lizardmen ones, they're not good. Leadership hates stupidity. So the way around that is a character with a wizarding hat, and I'm so sad that this is what my life has come to.
Are you one of the? Do you think you can wizarding hat the troll lore? Is that what you're trying to do?
I believe so because it just says
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
laws. I'm not taking it to a tournament. I'm playing
No,
it in a
it's
silly
obviously
game.
just a
So
meme.
it's
Yeah.
yeah.
I would be happy to see that across the board, so I have no problem with that. Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah.
Oh, you want to take this law? Yeah. No, I'll let you do that
Yeah, go for
because you're
that.
playing bad lizardmen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what about the other
Do you
Dark Elf
Do you want
option?
to talk about these two at length? Do you have any like strong feelings on them?
Um, no, I've played against both of them. I think twice ever.
Uh-huh.
They're not very popular. Uh, the both of them kind of really suffer compared to how they used to be. The level of their bound spells is quite low, and
Mm-hmm.
they generally want to be quite close, so it's really hard to get the spells off. I am not a believer in the Death Hag. I know a lot of people like her.
I'm not either.
It's not for me. The Blood Rack Shrine is kind of like a really expensive, doesn't do much more than a normal heavy chariot kind of piece. The spell it has, in theory, is nice, but it casts on 2, or bound level 2. So it's like, are you getting this off very often? No. Not a big fan.
Yeah. So these two are going in the tier down at the bottom, which is dragged along. If you have dragged along, you are not a real model. You do not get to play the game. Do not pass go. You can't pass go because you're slow as fuck. Get in the bin. This is the dragged along tier, and you're absolutely awful.
Oh man. The one nice thing you can do with this is
leave them at home.
You put is it Spectral Seed, or is it the demonology spell that you can give a unit flying?
It's only infantry.
Yeah, well, thankfully you put it on your infantry, and then they drag it along, and it's going.
Oh yeah. So you
right?
can. I've talked about this with the Skaven ones. So you can't charge. You have an 8-inch charge range, like threat range, because the way it's written is broken. But technically, because of that, you can do Steed of Shadows, Marching Column, and then march that unit. So you go 12-inch move,
give it 12,
36-inch move. You stay within range. Suddenly, your movement gets doubled. That's before you march. You can then march. You can fly 72 inches. It's inherently dumb and game breaking, but that's how the rule is written. Don't do it at home, kids. Not only because you're going to lose games if you do it, because it's just awful, but also it's just like it's real. I very rarely go in for rules as written versus rules as intended because you can't tell what they intend. I've spent a lot of time reading rules from Games Workshop rules writers, and what they intend is not what makes sense quite a lot of the time, unfortunately. So I'm never happy to jump on the rules as intended. They did not intend for you to shoot that chariot 72 inches.
No.
That is not
yeah.
That is not kosher.
Yeah. There's not much more to say about those. They're really slow, and yeah.
I think we can leave them down there, and that's fine. Cool. Then we're on to ogres, and ogres as an army, I believe, and I know you disagree, are down here in F. I don't think they're that bad, but they're like a C tier army at best. I think they really struggle. They're not having a great time. But are the chariots the best thing about them? No.
Oh, interesting. I am a big fan of the Iron Blaster.
Yeah.
I have an Iron Blaster right here.
I'm going to let you rate and place this one because I have a purely emotional reaction to the Iron Blaster, which is the first time I played them. I played 2. They both misfired on turn 1. And both didn't get a shoot again. And then the second time I played them, 1 misfired and blew itself up on turn 2. And I was like, I'm never doing this again. I might try them again later on down the line. But like, they're dead to me. Dead to me.
I think they're a pretty solid unit. It's got reasonable. It does like a bad steam tank impression. So it's like it's got decent stats. Bad. It's got a gun. What else can you really say about it? I think it's like close enough to a Steam tank that it like has some relevance.
Mm.
It is a bit expensive, and ogres don't have a lot of points to spare after spending points on characters. So fitting one in 2,000 points is not always easy, but I think it's always a fine choice. Yeah, like I think it's a reasonable piece. I have it on my tier list. I had it in A tier, or sorry, in B tier.
B tier.
Yeah, B tier.
I could see B tier. Yeah. And then I'm assuming, let's just whack it in here. I'm assuming the scrap launcher then makes its way to like the top of C tier because there's just a lot
No,
less reason to play it.
no, it's just it's like worse in every way. It's less tough, less armor. It's got a terrible gun. It's awful. Yeah, it's like not worth using. Unfortunately, I
But
love
like
the scrap launcher too.
straight to F tier.
I had it in D. F was I disagree with you on F so far, but I had it like in D tier, like
Yeah.
pretty low. Yeah.
So we can put it like here.
Yeah, that's
Because
about right. I have it, yeah.
my C is equivalent to your D, basically.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. We did have Tanoka says no hate, but it seems Brits have trouble making decent tabletop rules. It's nothing to do with Brits. Games Workshop is a company that hates money, despite being purely driven by their greed. I don't understand it, but every decision they make is anti. Like they just go like, oh, this would make me loads of money. I'm not going to do it. Should we hire someone who's very good at copy editing and make the rules work well? Loads of people will buy them. No.
Well, that's the key. It's the most money for the least effort. That's
but it's not.
You're missing there, right? Yeah.
They didn't like the big one is they didn't release a tie-in model for Space Marine 2, despite it being massive. Oh wait, they did. And where did they release it? Walmart, not in their shops. Like this is a rant for another day. But I live in Nottingham, so you talk to loads of people, and you start to lose the will to live at some point. So we'll move on. Games Workshop had an abusive relationship with money in their youth and refused to seek therapy. Yeah, yeah, that's about it. Cool. Doom Wheel. God, I hate the Doom Wheel. It is so expensive and so squishy, and the random move's cool, and when it shoots, it can accidentally blow itself up, but you don't have to shoot, so you don't have to blow yourself up on turn one, which is kind of neat. Is it 140 points? I think it is.
145, yeah.
That's so unreasonable. It's T5, which is great. It's 4 wounds. It's a 5 up armor save. Random move is pretty solid. I do like random move on this unit. And then, yeah, you've got D3+1 impact hits, stomp attacks. You've got the blast template that you don't have to shoot, but can scatter onto you and deal damage, or onto your army. The only time I've seen it, it made it into combat with my army and then did an unreasonable amount of damage. And that's so funny because I still don't think it's good. Hey, it was Kev's. Kev says, beautiful machine. Yours is higher than we're going to rate it, but everyone else's is just bad.
Yeah, it doesn't do it for me. It's a lot of points for what it does. The shooting is like, if you go into it, you're going to die. Like it does so much damage to yourself on average. It's not for me. It's like a combo of expensive. The random move is kind of nice, but the random move is way better on a unit that like really actively wants to go in and kill stuff in melee, like a Mangler Squig or a Giant Spawn. This thing is not really a big killer. Like it doesn't have AP on its attacks. Like it's got like what
do you mean? It's got 2d6 random attacks from the rats that are on there that are weapon skill and strength 2. Yeah, that does things.
It's not for me. I have it like D tier or even F. Like it's like,
I don't think it's F. Like I can see a reason you take it, and the reason is like, what else are you taking is Skaven? Like
it's another one of those units, especially legacy factions, that used to be unbelievable, incredible units, and now are hollow shells of their former selves. But
yeah. Like I'm not going to put one in my army, but like if you do, you're having more fun than me, and I respect that.
I mean, I would say the same thing about a Snotling Pump Wagon.
I disagree, because Snotlings are so actively bad, whereas the Doom Wheel might actually do something. Because the Snotling's so slow. I've never been charged by Snotlings, and I have seen them on the table. I have been charged by a Doom Wheel. That's
fair.
Anyway, we're arguing between the lesser of two evils. So I think we can safely move on and say both of them are pretty terrible. Yeah. And we've got 2 more for Dragged Along tier.
Yeah. These ones, I actually think they are a reasonable choice in a Skaven army. I don't think they're complete garbage. I think the Screaming Bell is better than the Plague Furnace by a decent margin.
Yeah.
Mostly just because it's a way to put your level forecaster, give it a little more oomph, a little more toughness.
18-inch bubble of good
Yeah,
leadership.
yeah, better leadership is nice.
The
It's
buffs are
got good
pretty good.
MR. Yeah, the buffs are fine.
Yeah.
It's quite expensive, but toughness 6, lots of wounds. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, I could see more use for the Screaming Bell.
Yeah, the furnace I have seen as like a meme army that it's not the worst thing ever. It has some interesting toughness debuff combos with the spell they have, the minus toughness vortex.
100%. And then you can go dark magic as well for -2 toughness if you really want to. Don't do that. There's better things to do.
Yeah.
But it's like I like the Plague Furnace. If you could charge with the Plague Furnace, I'd be pretty on board with it. If you gave it like, a standard chariot range of 13-inch charge, I'm like, yeah, I'll give it a go. It's probably tanky enough for me to, mess around and, play a bit aggressive with it, but it's also kind of cheap. It hits really hard, but it doesn't have that. So
yeah, if you really want to take a Plague Priest and do stuff with that, that's what you would do, but I usually don't when I'm looking at Skaven. So
yeah, Jordan, unfortunately the Plague Furnace can't go in the Plague Monk bricks because it has lumbering. If it could, I'd be way more on board. Like if lumbering was still where you had it inside a unit and it was just like basically the Tomb King bricks we're seeing, but instead of being abusive, it was just good. I'd be on board. I think that would really buff up Skaven if you could take Plague Furnaces in units.
yeah, back in the day, that's how it always was. The bell and the furnace were in the units. So
yeah. Pretty sad that that's not how it goes anymore. But yeah, so then we've got 2 armies left. We've got vampire counts, and as I said later, we've got demons, which are not in alphabetical order.
King of the Chariots, the demons. They have so many. Yeah,
they have so many, and I don't want to take any of them. So that's cool for us. We're gonna go vampire counts because vampire counts might be the kings of the chariots. They've got some good chariots. Let's not piss about. Mortis Engine is the best chariot in the game.
Yeah, Mortis Engine is top of S tier. It does so much. It has an unbelievable amount of utility. It's nigh impossible to kill. It has it all. Like what else can you say about it? It does screaming. It like buffs all your casting. It makes everybody faster. Large target is like sometimes the downside, but the 18-inch bubble for their command range is like wild, way out there. It's fast. It flies.
You can give it a 4 board save, and no, I've got stupidity, but I'm undead, which means my BSB lets me reroll stupidity.
Yeah,
cool. Like, there's almost no downside to it. You buff your opponent's casting if they get too close. They're not getting close. If they get close, I scream them to death.
Built-in regen, built-in undead bonuses. Like it heals. Like it has all of it. Yeah. It's just everything. Yep.
Solid. Brian says, will Games Workshop ever FAQ the fact that technically Mortis Engine has 7 screams? No, but it's okay. No one in their right mind will play it that way.
Yeah, I don't think there's a reasonable way to state that without causing other crazy infinite regress things, right? So,
yeah, it's full. Actually, but in reality, no one's doing that, which is good because it would be some real bullshit. I will say it's downhill from here. Like, which of the 3 mediocre chariots do you want to talk about next?
Disagreed.
Really?
So Corpse Cart is very fine. Corpse Cart is a great unit. Adds on to the the theme of undead. There's even more rezzing, even more debuffs. The Warped Tabulation is what people usually take. That gives more models coming back when they die. Works very well with stuff that's only getting 1 wound back. So, for instance, if you're healing the Mortis Engine itself, it's getting 2 wounds back. If you're healing Blood Knights, it's doing more. The Balefire Brazier is I think less popular and it's probably fine. It's a lesser version of the War Altars debuff for casting. All right. It is a wizard, so it's just yet another spell in your army of 1,000,000 spells. The stats are whatever, but you're not taking it for the fightiness of it. It's surprisingly hard to kill for what it is too. It's it's got regeneration and a 4+ armor, so it's like that plus undead healing means it's really tough unless you kill it in one round. You're probably not going to kill it. I think this is a very solid piece, and like I see a lot of vampire armies use it. So
Interesting.
I
And
have this in A. So
in A,
yeah, if I'm Bugman's carts in A, this is A.
huh?
It's everything you want a vampire army to be doing, and it's solid. Yeah.
Okay. You know when the last time I saw vampire counts at an event? It's been months, honestly. So I guess I'm kind of out of touch with what people are doing other than screaming at you, because screams kind of feels like it's a bit old hat. So is this more to support like big units of Graveguard?
It's great with any. I mean, it's great with the screams too. Like it, if you've got 2 level 4s, it buffs up your invocations.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's fine with Graveguard too. Same reason. You're just adding more wounds back. I think it's fine. The extra additional bit of tar pit from the tabulation helps a lot too when you're trying to slow people down with zombies or Graveguard.
Interesting. I've literally never seen one in the list, but I will take your word for it. And again, I'm just gassed that I've got away with Chosen Chariots in A, so I got to keep feeding you these tidbits.
I think it's quite solid.
Yeah.
It's not an every list piece, but it is like if you have the room for it, I think it's always a great option. Yeah. So moving on, the Black Coach.
I have seen this on the table, and I really enjoyed it, but I think it's too expensive for what it does.
I think it's a solid collection of rules and stuff. In the Vampire Codex, or in the Vampire Arcane Journal, there's just not that much room for this. I think if some of the other vampire options were toned down, you might see this more. But as stands, I think I've seen it on the board one time, and it was like all right. It is a bit expensive. I think it can be it's incorporeal. So like if you're trying to shoot at it, like you're not really going to be able to kill it that way.
So you can choose between giving it ethereal and fly, or having impact hits d6+2. So you can either use it as a beta or you can use it as a fly. I would like this if you could use it as a mount.
Of course,
you can't. Yeah, because it can't be a mount. I can't see myself ever running this.
Yeah, it's kind of in that tier of it's a heavy chariot, not a mount, or usefulness of a mount is kind of limited down there. I think it's in like mid low C tier.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But like, if you could put a vampire on it, I'm playing around with taking that vampire. Like, this is better than an Abyssal Terror in my eyes as a mount.
Ethereal fly on a vampire would be kind of
nuts. Yeah, and also sometimes you're like, you know what? I just need the impact hits. Let's go. Let's do it.
I mean, if you're going to charge, that's what you do. Yeah, usually, unless they're going to go into something without magic.
Yeah, unless they're going to hit you back. You're like, I'm just here to spectral doppelganger. That's all I got, and you've got no magic weapon, so I win on default.
Yep.
But yeah, and then there's the Coven Throne, and this is something that you can put a character on, and I do not know what it does.
I have
the other chariot.
Yeah, it's the other thing you can build with the Mortis Engine kit. It's like fine. If you're going to take the Strigoi character, you can put this, or you can put it on the Terrorgeist. So I feel like you're probably not going to see this very often. I'm not a big fan. The Scrying Pool thing is a bound spell, so it's not going to go off often.
Strigoi can't even go on it.
Oh, is that true? Which one is the
Vampire count is the only thing that can go on it.
Never mind. The Strigoi are their own choice now. That's true. I then that's just being compared to the zombie dragon. Then, I'm not a big fan. I've never seen it on the board, so I can't really say for sure. It seems like for 5 points more, you get Swift Stride and just better stats on the dragon.
Yeah, you get a bound spell level 2, cast in a 9 self, reroll 1s to hit for this model only. Or you could just have a vampire dragon that has some pretty mediocre but not bad attacks and some stomps. That seems better. And then actually
the higher toughness too, right? So
yeah. This is. I don't see a point for it. Like, I think this is an F because of what it's competing against.
If we're like, I think if we're being fair, like it's like, if we're rating it on purely like how often am I going to put this in my army? Like, would I ever put this in my army? I would probably agree with you. But
Mm.
on terms of just like its pure raw stats, if the zombie dragon didn't exist, you would put this on it. Like, you would put your vampire on it if you wanted to take a vampire. So, yeah.
So are you saying you want it higher up?
I think bottom of C. I don't think it's as bad as the Snotlings, like the bump wagon. But
You know what? You've got me there. It's not as bad as the Snotlings. That's fair.
yeah.
Then we've got demons, and demons truly have some of the chariots of all time.
Yeah.
And I'm super pumped to have to talk about them. Let's just pick and mix. You got any that you care about at all that you want to start with?
Yeah. So the one I'll highlight is the Seeker Chariot, just the standard Slaanesh Seeker Chariot.
Mm-hmm.
It is the same as the Wolf Rider, Skeleton Chariot, Tyrannok Chariot, in that it can join.
Oh,
units.
it can go in a unit.
So for that alone, it has use. Putting your Herald with the Locust on that is a good choice. As units on their own, I'm not very high on them. Like, they're very squishy. They do have kind of like the wackiest threat ranges out there, like with Swift Stride, and I think it's like a 10-inch on your dice roll charge. Like
demons. It's only a 9-inch move.
No, but the Slaanesh mark adds 1.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Their charge. So it's like they're very fast. They're surprisingly fast. They don't have the greatest offensive stats, but just purely as like the character mount, like if you're going to take a Herald of Slaanesh, that's what you're going to do it with. So that one is like a reasonable choice. I think it's like a B tier for putting the other similar units in B, like Tyrannok. What else do we have here? I have the Burning Chariot of Slaanesh as on this list would be a C tier compared to yours. The reason being is that it's a non-character level 4 wizard, basically. So
well, you say that. Level 3 that casts at +1, and that is a big distinction because there's no way to increase your number of spells outside of the one good caster. They're dispelling I'm less worried about. Casting at +4 is nice, but then you're also going, I'm dry rolling 3 spells. There's not a single lore in existence that I'm excited to do that with. You can put a Herald on there and get 2 level 3s, which is not a level 6, unfortunately.
No, but that is a lot of spells. So I generally like it as a if you're going to take a Tzeentch army, I think that's one of your first options. Just adding more magic to the spam.
I think I'm more interested in the Flamer unit, but the Flamer unit's squishier. So there is definitely some sort of like 1A 1B there.
This it flies like it's like got good maneuverability because it's got a narrow frontage.
Yeah.
It's got 4+ armor, which is like in a demon army is actually quite good.
That's true.
Yeah, I think it's fine. It has I think the 1 flamer shot and then 3 blue horror shots as well. So it's not nothing. So
it's
reasonable shooting.
The flamers not bad. The blue horrors are.
The blue horrors, their guns are fine. I would take those over like an elf bow in a lot of cases on on a mobile chariot. Like it's like multi-shot, right? It's not a bad gun.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's like it's better than you give credit for. Yeah.
Flames is in show. We got to go to the bottom of the.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no multi-shot 2, strength 2, 3,
quick shot. Yeah,
18-inch range. What's the ballistic skill? Is it 2?
I think it's 3.
Oh, it's 3. Oh, okay, so you got 6 shots hitting on 5s, hitting on 6s because you're going to be at long range. You get a whole hit.
They're quick shot.
Yeah, so you don't get a penalty for moving, but long range because you don't want to be close.
Yeah, so just 5s hit, right?
Multi-shot.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're going to shoot multi, you're obviously going to. Yeah, whatever. It's not nothing. It's like the similar to the Tyrannok or the Skeleton Chariots shooting. It's like reasonable. So like that one I have again is like a C unit. It's like fine.
Yeah. The Exalted Seeker, I kind of like. I'm not saying that I like it because it's good, but it has so many attacks. It's expensive. It's 185 points for a T4 model with 6 wounds. Obviously, you're taking it as a character mount.
Yes,
but you can
only be a character mount. So.
Oh yes, that's true. So you got 3 Demonette crew and 4 Steeds of Slaanesh. So you're getting 6 attacks from the crew, 4 from the Slaanesh, and then you've got whatever character you've got on top. So you're throwing just like a real bunch of dice. And then I think it's got D6 plus 1 impact hits as well. Like just go into light units and like sure you probably don't need a 300-point character to kill light units, but like it kills light units really well.
It's absurdly expensive for what it is the problem. It's 185 points. it's very squishy. Like I just don't see it because like when you're taking a herald, it's gonna have 8 wounds, right? So
We're going back to you can like things and not have them be good. I like it because it's ludicrous and you get to throw loads of dice. But I agree, it's not worth running. I think it's probably bottom of C.
yeah.
I don't think it's F because at least it has a niche. You're like, I just want the most attacks per unit, but it also has the silly frontage of 100 by 150 mil, which is so big.
You're thinking of the wrong one. You're thinking of the Hellflare.
No, that's the Exalted. The Exalted has 100 by 150. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, sorry. The Hellflare is 100 by 60. I got confused there. My bad.
Sure.
The Hellflare is also very wide. And the Hellflare is the one with like the grinding thing. So it's kind of funny.
Favorite model of the lot, but also the most C of the lot.
Yep, that's fair. Otherwise, I had the Tzeentch Chariot, like Chariot of Tzeentch, in similar grounds to this. It's like a fine character mount if you're going to take
I
herald.
think I would put it above the Burning Chariot because I think it's so many points to take the Burning Chariot and make it a caster. I don't necessarily think that's a good thing to do with your character points.
I'm not taking the Burning Chariot as a mount for my character. I'm just taking
exactly,
it
yeah. So I think on the basis of you might actually want to take a regular chariot because you might want to put a herald on it, I would see that higher than the Burning Chariot in my eyes.
That makes sense to me. Yeah, I'm with you there.
So like top of C.
Yeah, sure.
We're getting real into the minutiae here.
Even that is probably a bit high. I don't think I'm not taking the Chariot of Tzeentch over like if we're ranking them in the tier. Razorgore, Gorebeast, Black Orc, Cold One. Like I'm taking all those over this one. But so that's there. What else do we have?
Skull Cannon, I think, is legitimately pretty okay.
One thing about the Hellflare, I do think the Hellflare has a role. And it's not as bad as like you might think it is. Specifically against undead, there's not many units that are better at like mulching a bunch of zombies. So
true.
It's really fast. So
and that's such like an 80s B film zombie killing like vehicle as well.
Yeah,
it's got the blades. It's a lawnmower for zombies.
Something out of The Walking Dead or something.
I still don't think I want to take it in case I play anyone else. But I see what you're saying. Like that would be cool if you knew that you were playing. If you were tailoring your list for your opponent, but then didn't want to win games, you could run a Hellflare.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it is what it is. I just wanted to say that about it.
It's a very valid point.
Back to the Skull Cannon. I'm actually fairly high on the Skull Cannon. I think it's all
I
right.
agree. Yeah, I think the Skull Cannon is solid. It's like very similar to your reasoning for the Iron Blaster. It does a similar sort of job. It's T5, 4 wounds. It's got a cannon. It's got a 4-up save.
Two saves, yeah.
I think it's exactly the same stat-wise in terms of like defensive profile, apart from you've also got a ward save, which is way better. Yeah, for being a demon.
Oh, sorry. You're talking about the Iron Blaster?
Sorry, I think the Skull Cannon has the same stats defensively, but also has a ward save.
The Iron Blaster is toughness 6, I believe.
Oh, okay. That is actually better than a ward save.
I think it might be 1 more wound too. Yeah, I think it's 1 more wound as well.
Okay, so that side of the Iron Blaster, but I think they're very, very comparable, and especially if you're playing like looking to fill your points with corn stuff, you might struggle to find good units. So.
The one thing I will say, like comparing the Iron Blaster and this, the Iron Blaster's gun is significantly better, but the misfire chart for the Iron Blaster is awful, and this one only suffers a wound when you misfire. So
yes, it's in the tier of the Steam Tank and the Iron Demon in terms of what happens if you misfire. Oh, okay, I'll take a wound. It's not too bad.
Yeah, the Iron Blaster when you misfire, nothing is going to happen to you. It's all bad. It's all very bad.
Yeah. And then there's the Blood Throne, which is exclusively a mount. It's 160 points for T5, 4 wounds. It's a heavy chariot, so you don't get to do the broken thing with it.
Yep.
And you can regain maybe a wound. Is it every impact hit that caused a wound, roll a d6 on a 6, it recovers a single loss wound?
That's right.
I don't know why they added something to it. They should have just said every 6 you roll on the impact hits as a wound. Oh no, because it has to be like post saves.
It could just say for every unsaved wound heal. It really wouldn't matter much. Like
capped at 2.
They gotta make it worse. Yeah, I guess.
Or
The
like
demons haven't suffered enough.
Yeah, if you do an unsaved wound with the charge, you just heal a wound. Like cap it at 1, but you get it every time it does. That's probably better than it is most of the time. It removes the funny, haha, oh, I healed 4 wounds. Like, wasn't that wild? But
Yeah, I mean, they tend to overvalue the healing things in the game. With the notable exception of undead. Undead have kind of the opposite thing where they get it for free.
Because it's not on the data sheet. It's like just tucked away.
Yeah.
And like, oh, I forgot that existed. For me, this also means you have to take a Herald of Khorne. And if you're playing Khorne, you're like, I've got a melee aggressive unit. And then you look at the stats, you're like, I've got a terrible weapon.
The one thing I will say about the Herald of Khorne is they do have a really good icon. It's like if you can see it, they get -1 on their casting. I think is what
That's
it does.
not bad. Yeah,
it is the Great Standard of Sundering. I've often seen that on Blood Crusher units, I believe, instead of this. But you could take your Demonic Locust and put that on him. This is like a fine mount. If you're going to take a Herald, you're probably going to take this. So probably C. Like I don't think it's F. I don't think.
I don't think any of them are F tier for demons. But they're just not usually good. John says this has been a great birthday treat. Thanks for the great stream. Happy birthday, John. Still looking like you're 24. That's what I'm clinging on to as well. Definitely, every year 24. I thought I found a grey hair like a couple of months ago, and I emotionally came to terms with it, and then I went to the bathroom and had better lighting, and it was just a reflection of the terrible lighting I was in. There you go.
I've got a few grays myself now, so
yeah. I've got a mirror in my loft. That's wow. Anyway. So that is the tier list. I will post that in the tier list channel down in the Discord. If you want to criticize, add your thoughts and opinions, what you've got to do, what you have to do, is rank these yourself. Because put your money where your mouth is. It's really easy to tell you what's good and what's bad. It's really kind of hard to put the middling units in. We've not really ordered them in tier. If it's in a tier, it's kind of just wherever, with the exception of Chosen Chariots at the top of A tier. Anything else to round the stream off with, Shane? Anything you got to say?
No, that's pretty great. I had a great time being here and big fan of the show. So thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming. So just to sort of talk about how we know each other. We just kind of accidentally got talking. I think played a game at some point, and then continued to talk, and then now both ended up involved in running the SBOT. You're doing a lot more than me, but I'm in there doing bits and pieces. So it's one of those weird small world situations.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. We met on the Honest Wargamer Discord. Now we talk mostly.
To be fair, that is true. That is true. All right. Brian says, "Love you lots. Love you too, Brian. Hope you're doing well." And on that fantastic and positive note, we'll see you next time.